For millennia, people around the world have reported alarming animal behavior in the period preceding natural disasters. They say animals can feel imminent danger, sending warning signals to people about the catastrophes that are yet to come. Recently, the fall of hundreds of blackbirds in the sky of Mexico, the bizarre change in the pattern of movement of animals towards highlands, the excessive swarming of whales, and many strange changes in the behavior of animals around the globe, are said to be a tip for something very big and bad that is about to happen. Join us while we talk about this change in the behavior of millions of animals, the reason behind their concern, and what is about to happen very soon. Recently, a security camera captured a moment in northern Mexico when a flock of migratory birds descended over the houses like a black smoke cloud. Before we go on, please take a second to hit the subscribe button. The recording was made in Chihuahua, about 230 miles south of El Paso, Texas, and featured a bunch of black, yellow-headed birds that fell to the ground in unison under inexplicable circumstances. While many of the birds that were heading south of Canada, where they had spent the winter, recovered from the fall and flew away, dozens of them were dead and did not move. The exact cause of the event is still unclear, but experts said that the bandit was probably pushed from above by a predatory bird that came down to capture it. An animal expert, as reported by El Heraldo de Chihuahua, speculated that the high levels of pollution caused by the use of firewood, agrochemicals, and cold temperatures could be the cause of the incident. It was also speculated that the birds had been killed by electricity while being polished in the energy wires. Some people on social media suggested that this was due to 5G technology, but Dr. Richard Broughton, an ecologist at the United Kingdom Centre for Ecology and Hydrology, says that although he couldn't see a bird of prey in the footage, he was 99% sure that a predatory bird caused this. Birds could have been taken down in a spiral, squeezed by a predator, with those flying lower being forced to crash against buildings or against the ground by those flying higher. A similar event happened in 2011, during New Year's Eve in Arkansas, and similar reports arrived from Louisiana, Sweden, and other places. Hundreds of other dead birds descended from Louisiana, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And dozens of birds similar to ravens died in Sweden, adding up to 100,000 fish that landed in Arkansas. And all this added up to a catastrophic scenario. At any moment there are at least 10 billion birds in North America, and there may be up to 20 billion, and almost half die each year due to natural causes. That's why scientists argued that the deaths of birds in flight are not a reason to worry because they occur frequently. Although such events are not a rare occurrence, some specialists believe that the reason behind such behavior is meteorological alerts such as lightning or lightning. But what if there is something else about it? And if this were a sign of some disaster caused by man, a new strain of avian flu, or perhaps one of the signs of the end of the world? Ancient Romans believed that birds could predict the future if they dealt with it and understand it correctly, like the tea leaves in a Hogwarts guessing class. According to Douglas Jacobson, a history and theology professor at the Church at the Messiah College in Grantham, Pennsylvania, the auspices would interpret the movements of a flock of little birds that wander through the sky like a fish tank. The Romans even took some birds on the ground and cut them to examine their internal organs. It is also said that all this is in heaven and is uncommon. What comes out of the sky, which is uncommon, seems to have the potential to be interpreted as a sign from God. And in the Bible, some of the signs of the world are explained in Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 20, which says, "The fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the animals in the field, all the creature that moves along the earth, and all the people on the face of the earth, will tremble in my presence. The mountains will be overthrown, the cliffs will crumble, and all the walls will fall to the ground." So far we have more than 10,000 dead fish and 3,000 dead birds. And the earth is shaking in Indiana, everywhere. The ecosystem is being affected, and only half of the species of birds in the world are declining. It's a lot more. The concentration of marine animal populations has shifted from Ecuador towards the poles during the last century. Many of these marine species are fleeing from water and toward the earth, and these movements can cause damage to food and disturb the entire ecosystem. There has also been a rapid increase in whale washing, with dolphins and other marine animals on beaches around the world. Both living and non-living organisms can be blown to the ground by strong winds and experience what is known as a beach or a sink. There are times when a large number of marine animals sink at the same time, a phenomenon known as mass is anchored at the same time, a phenomenon known as a mass in the region of Patagonia, in the south of Chile, in 2015, and the series of beaked whales that took the coast in Guam between 2007 and 2019 demonstrate the global scope of this problem. A beaked whale can be sick or injured, senile, lost, unable to feed, or otherwise compromised, for example, experiencing hard work or simply old, but the excess of beaches in the last 2 years is because human activities such as fishing, pollution, ship strikes and much more are responsible for many of the injuries and subsequent deaths that lead to escalations, but as the railings are increasing every year that passes, it is certainly alarming to scientists. Have you ever heard of the Dead Sea, which is one of the most hypnotizing natural phenomena in the world, located between the Jordanian and Israeli borders? In addition to some microorganisms and algae, this saltwater lake is completely devoid of life. No marine algae, fish, or others are found in their turquoise waters or around them. More recently, the Israeli photojournalist Noam Beaton reported sightings of marine life in small sinks around the Dead Sea and growing vegetation. Photos released by the Dead Sea Revival Project show small fish swimming in the water that, as it turns out, comes from a highly saline water body. Evidence of a biblical miracle is also reported, becoming a reality. The Bible states that after the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, the land was transformed into a sterile desert. The same area where the Dead Sea is now. It was prophesied that life would return to the earth again, with abundant fish in the water. And now, the end of the world prophecies of Ezekiel is being fulfilled. In 2004, a tsunami triggered by a 9.1 magnitude submarine earthquake throughout Indonesia decimated coastal communities around the Indian Ocean, killing at least 225,000 people in a dozen countries. The huge number of deaths was caused partly by many communities that did not receive any warning. Early warning systems manufactured by the local man, such as sea and earthquake sensors, were unable to raise any clear alerts. Many sensors were out of action due to maintenance problems, while many coastal areas did not have tsunami warning signals. The danger communication also failed to provide alerts, with many text messages failing to reach the cell phones in areas threatened or without reading. However, in the minutes and hours before climbing water walls up to 9 meters high and being knocked down by the coast, some animals seemed to feel imminent danger and make an effort to flee. According to reports from eyewitnesses, elephants ran to higher ground, flamingos abandoned low nitrification areas and dogs refused to go out in the open. In the coastal village of Bang Khoi, in Thailand, locals reported a herd of buffaloes on the beach suddenly biting their ears, looking at the sea, and then climbing a hilltop a few minutes before the tsunami. It is said that animals have a sixth sense that can sense danger, resulting in changes in their behavior. Recently, another scary recording of a huge flock of sheep walking in a circle for 12 days in a row in China appeared. The video posted on Twitter in early November left people perplexed all over the world. The footage shows dozens of sheep walking clockwise in an almost perfect circle on a farm in Inner Mongolia. While most scientists claim that this may be due to a bacterial disease called listeriosis, also known as circulating disease, or even if it is not the case, there may be a natural reason behind the striking behavior of animals. Still has angry and mystified people around the world. While the owner of the farm, Mrs. Meow, had no idea why her herd started to march in a circle, according to some people on social media, it's time to be prepared for the return of Christ as the days are counted and that we should not ignore the signs, because science is not real. People are also saying that animals can communicate what they feel to humans, and whatever is happening needs to be seen as the intuition of the animal about something that is about to happen. There is a lot going on in the world right now. Changes are being seen in the behavior of birds, fish, worms, elephants, cows, and many other animals in the world. Although there is a perfectly scientific explanation, in most cases, signs are something big. And maybe apocalyptic can happen. And it is time for the human race to be prepared to face what is yet to come. Share with us what you think about this in the comments section.